back to the crisis report. Excuse me. And yeah, we are talk about all kinds of stuff. This is the last report of 2024, and we are going to be doing some analysis, but not a lot. We're going to save that because afterwards I'm going to be going on over to PrepperNow, where I will do a bit of a year-end special on the things that I think we're going to need to be prepped for and the major stories of 2025 as they are now developing in the end of 2024. So there is a lot to be concerned about, of course. And if you've been watching and listening to these reports for the last couple years, we've covered a lot of different things, and we've covered things, and we made some calls, and the calls have been pretty solid, all things considered. So we're going to do it again tonight for the last time in 2024. Now, I do call this the most comprehensive news on YouTube. I have yet to find other places that do quite as extensive. I think there's people in the ballpark for sure. I think there's a lot of channels out there that do great jobs. So, but I think when it comes to what you're getting, I go out and I see other channels, and to be honest with you, they're 12 to 24 hours behind me. So my system has always kind of been the same. I basically go out to different news sources on a couple different platforms. I find them. If it looks like it's standing out and it's going to be something that's going to affect us, I copy it and I put it here with all of the links, like this one right here for disclosed.tv and others. And you can all get it here at the PrepperNow Substack, preppernow.substack.com. And at that point, ball's in your court. There's a channel I call, or I watch and listen and get their stuff from. And the guy was calling Elon out, and he's like, man, if I get taken down on Twitter, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because it's not about me. It's about finding out what's going on. And I really liked what he said that because I'm the same boat. There's things here that I don't like to see, I don't like to say, but honestly, they need to be said. So, all right, we're going to get started. It's about 3 minutes in. This is not going to be a super long one, but it's going to set it up for PrepperNow, which will be ringing in the New Year's. And I've got a whole host of different stories over there that I think are going to be of a great and critical importance in 2025. So strap in, lock in, hit that like button, do the subscribe thing, darken out the bell, and we'll get going, okay? This is your crisis report for December 31st, 2024, New Year's Eve, or stay alive in 25. Blackout, Puerto Rico without power on New Year's Eve. That is not Cuba, that is Puerto Rico, even though there's some similarities there. Telegram CEO Pavel Durov says Russian app users now enjoy more freedom than Europeans due to censorship under the European Union's Digital Services Act. It is a repressive act that needs to be repealed. Europe, you're doing a crappy job, and everybody that is in a government that is for things like the Digital Services Act, you need to be removed immediately. Massive water pipe burst. Water supply is failing in several districts of Berlin on New Year's Eve. Jiner says it is shared Rona info with the WHO without holding anything back. China's Xi Jinping says no one can stop the reunification with Taiwan. And guess what, folks? That's going to be a big story. There's a lot of people thinking that 2025, China's going to drop the hammer. U.S. slapped sanctions on Iran, Russia, and groups over the election interference. South Korean court has issued an arrest warrant for impeached suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol. Investigators said over his short-lived bid to impose martial law on the country. Excuse me. Russia may strike Ukrainian gas pipeline tomorrow. A little New Year's wake up. A peace treaty between Ukraine and Russia will be concluded in 2025. I don't think so. Authors of the Financial Times are sure of this. They claim that the U.S. President Trump will threaten Russia with tougher sanctions and will increase arms supplies to Ukraine if Moscow refuses its terms. And this plan will certainly work, as the newspaper promises, because the authors of the article do not specify why it didn't work with Biden. But, of course, Trump's going to get in there and it's going to work, right? Probably not. Gazprom reduces its volume of supplies to Europe. Volume of supplies on December 31st was 37.2 million cubic meters. Reuters notes that Gazprom warned of reduced gas supplies to Europe via Ukraine on Tuesday, December 31st. On December 30th, Gazprom sent 42.4 million cubic meters to European countries. Maximum volume of pumping is 42.5, and so they've dropped it by about 10%, 12, 15%. Shin Bet published an annual report of the activity in the past year, during which the security agency says it foiled 1,040 major terror attacks, West Bank, Jerusalem, questioned over 650 suspects, Gaza Strip, foiled 20 terror cells amongst Arab Israelis and 13 Iranian espionage plots. Agency also released for the first time an audio recording between the agent and Corporal Ori Megadish, soldier kidnapped by Hamas on the 7th of October 2023. Gaza Strip, Shin Bet says 2024's agents assisted in the detention of 1,350 Palestinians through army checkpoints, 40 senior commanders, 165 suspects, all considered top officials, 45 involved in the 10-7 onslaught of 2023, 100 who were suspected to have information regarding the Hamas-held hostages. In all, Shin Bet says it's handled 2,500 suspects who were taken from Gaza. 650 were later interrogated. Shin Bet says the interrogations led to life-saving information for ground troops in Gaza, targeting hundreds of sites belonging to these groups. Lebanon, Shin Bet says it involved an elimination of 25 senior commanders, Palestinian groups, including Hamas, Jamaat al-Islamiyah, and Popular Front, Liberation of Palestine. West Bank and Jerusalem, Shin Bet says it foiled 1,040 significant attacks, 680 planned shootings, 326 involved explosive devices, 13 stabbings, 9 car rammings, 2 self-dispatching bombs, and 1 kidnapping. It goes on from there and is extensive to say the least. But to end it all up, in the past year, 13 separate incidents of Israelis allegedly spying or carrying out other tasks for Iranian elements were foiled, Shin Bet says, with a total of 27 indictments. Shin Bet says it also carried out hundreds of complex security operations in high-risk areas past year, including providing security for Israeli officials in the Gaza Strip when they visited Lebanon, Syria. Shin Bet also says it's conducted dozens of security operations abroad, including 2 special missions for the Israeli delegation to the Olympics in Paris, France, Eurovision Song Contest in Malmö, Sweden as well. As you can see, they have been busy. Year in reflection, Russia the past year has been marked by intense diplomatic efforts from Moscow, significant military, economic realizations. 3rd year of the SMO, or as now they call it, war actually, with Ukraine, after, of course, what they're calling the 2014 coup. 2024, Russia's military campaign, less ambitious than it was in prior years, home to approximately 1 million residents in the Donetsk, serves as the capital of the Donetsk People's Republic. Russian forces encircled Avdiivka and pushed Ukrainian troops away from Donetsk, exposing it to direct artillery fire, and it was definitely the focus of this year. Troops advanced between 20 and 40 kilometers, Donbass region. Territorial shifts, modest when compared to those in the past conflicts, indicate a consistent Russian progress through the year, especially in the fall months, during which more land was secured than in the previous 8 months combined. Russian troops are now close to capturing Pokrovsk, another important hub for the Ukrainian military. Now, this is all from the Russian mindset. This is from the East. Ukraine put a lot of losses. However, Kiev launched an unexpected offensive into Russia. The Kursk region, quiet areas, targeting relatively quiet areas near Belgorod, Kharkov, Kursk City, and nearby Kuchetov nuclear power plant. Initiative had limited impact. Propaganda exercise. to unsettle the Kremlin and Russian military. As 2024 ends, the situation in Ukraine appeared increasingly bleak. Trump has consistently voiced a desire to negotiate a peace agreement, but achieving this proves complicated. Ukraine seems to have tacitly acknowledged its challenges. Western nations have begun contemplating the possibility of freezing the conflict. Russia's demands are unwavering. We end with Zelensky facing mounting pressure, and any diplomatic negotiations that occur will likely be heavily influenced by developments on the battlefield, where Russia's advances continue to alter the balance of power. New Year's speech, German Chancellor Scholz reaffirmed Germany's commitment to supporting Ukraine against Russian aggression. He stated that he assures not to abandon Ukraine and will support like no other country in Europe, emphasizing the need for calm to prevent it from escalating further. Scholz also called on citizens to unite in face of various challenges, including economic difficulties, recent tragic attack in Magdeburg. U.S. CENTCOM forces conducted multiple precision strikes against Iran-backed Houthis in Sana'a, coastal locations, Houthi-controlled territory in Yemen. And that was over the last couple days. U.S. Navy ships, aircraft targeted Houthi command and control facility, advanced conventional weapons or ACW production, and storage facilities that included missiles and uncrewed aerial vehicles, or UAVs. These facilities were used in Houthi operations, attacks against U.S. Navy warships, merchant vessels in the southern Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. In addition, U.S. Navy and U.S. Air Force destroyed a Houthi coastal radar site, 7 cruise missiles, and one-way attack drones over the Red Sea. There were no injuries, damage to U.S. personnel or equipment, either incident. Strikes are a part of CENTCOM's effort to degrade Iran-backed Houthis' efforts to threaten regional partners and military and merchant vessels in the region. Hold on real quick. Whoosh. Now we're in. Russian officers trained for attacks on Japan and South Korea in the event of a war with NATO. Military prepared detailed target lists for potential war on Japan and South Korea that included nuclear power stations and other civilian infrastructure. According to secret files from 2014 and 13, seen by the Financial Times, the strike plan summarized in a leaked set of Russian military documents. Been a lot of hacks lately. Over 160 sites, such as roads, bridges, factories, selected as targets, stopped the regrouping of troops in areas of operational purpose. Ukrainian authorities are warning people to prepare for massive attacks from Russia in the coming hours, and Finnish authorities identified seabed damage near East Link 2. A significant seabed scrape mark has been identified near the damaged East Link 2 power cable, Baltic Sea. Finnish officials suspect the tanker Eagle S, part of Russia's Shadow Fleet, dragged its anchor across the seabed, potentially damaging critical infrastructure. These sabotages have been ongoing for the last couple weeks as well. China-backed hackers breached U.S. Treasury workstations, as I just previously said. And, of course, we had that over on the super secret, for those that don't know, Global Intel channel. You might want to become familiar, youtube.com/@Global Intel channel. U.S. Treasury Department notified lawmakers on Monday that a China state-sponsored actor infiltrated Treasury workstations in what officials are describing as a major incident. Treasury spokesperson said in a statement to CNN that the compromised service has been taken offline, and officials are working with law enforcement and the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA. There is no evidence indicating the threat actor has continued access of Treasury systems or information, Treasury spokesperson said. So it sounds like it went out like this. Step 1, first attackers targeted Treasury vendor Beyond Trust. 2, stole Beyond Trust key for a remote tech support cloud platform. 3, attackers used the platform like a backdoor on Treasury machines where it was installed. And the analogy is hacker breaks into your plumber's office and steals master keys of the buildings that they service. So they had an earlier one with this group called Salt Typhoon that went in and found the geolocation data of very important higher-up CEOs of our telecommunications companies. kind of a problem, if you ask me. Luke Groman on X. Interesting timing, coming so close on the heels of the latest round of Bitcoin might eventually get hacked by quantum computing. Articles in U.S. mainstream financial media, given that China reportedly hacked U.S. Treasury but not Bitcoin. Huh. Interesting. Middle East security analyst Seth Frantzman on X says there is one brutal, enduring fact about the war in Gaza. Hamas sees the entire war as a success. And if it could go back to October 6th, it would do it all over again. More jarring is that most NGOs, UN orgs that work in Gaza would like the war to end and have Hamas continue to rule Gaza. They don't see the Hamas attack as a disaster for Gaza. They see Israel's response as bad, but they think Hamas is a good steward of Gaza. They have partnered with Hamas and profited immensely off its rule. They want to perpetuate Hamas rule, and they feed off the disasters and suffering that it brings. Telegram CEO Pavel Durov has written that access to certain Russian media has been restricted in the EU under DSA sanctions laws. Meanwhile, all Western media Telegram channels remain freely accessible in Russia. Who would have thought that in 2025 Russian Telegram users would enjoy more freedom than European? Federalist. China has launched a militarization program, the largest since Germany 1930s. You might have remembered what happened then. Article from the Western press, appropriate accents, but the fact is that China will support the almost tenfold increase in industrial production since 2000, appropriate investments in defense, quite obvious and urgent task given the wild lawlessness in the West is unleashing around the world. Article reports the following. Pentagon's China military power report says China is now positioning itself as a global superpower. Despite the wild U.S. military spending, the U.S. is becoming more and more strategically vulnerable. China is rapidly increasing its missile arsenal. 50 new ICBMs capable of striking the United States are on duty. China has 400 of them in total. Added 300 MRBMs, medium-range and 100 long-range missiles for deployment in the fleet. By 2030, 600 nuclear warheads will be added, totaling 1,000. The fleet, already the largest in the world, 370 ships and submarines, will grow to 435 by 2030. A lot of attention is being paid to cognitive warfare in an acute phases. Deep fakes will be created, planted en masse in order to demoralize U.S. military and society, as well as undermine their ties with their allies. Tasks assigned to the Chinese Army are A. Be ready to resolve the Taiwan issue by 2027. B. To gain strategic dominance by 2035. C. To have the most advanced army by 2049. And the anniversary of the CCP coming to power in 1949. That is a long march, as one would say. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, know what I mean. Several loud explosions reported in Kiev as Russia launched Iskander ballistic missiles moments ago. Yemen's Ansarullah have announced that they carried out 2 qualitative operations. First operation targeted Ben Gurion International Airport with a Palestine 2 hypersonic ballistic missile. Second operation targeted the power station south of Jerusalem with a Zulfikar ballistic missile. The 2 operations coincided with another joint operation targeting the aircraft carrier U.S. Harry S. Truman. Storm Shadow missiles launched from Ukraine headed towards Rostov-on-Don. Neptune missiles headed towards Crimea. Storm Shadow missiles up. It's a doubler. The World Bowls Tour banned Israel from the upcoming international lawn bowling competition in Norfolk, England, only to reverse the decision within hours, following intense pressure from Jewish groups and UK Parliament member Rupert Lowe. Preliminary reports of the downing of an MQ-9 Reaper drone in Yemen. That would be the second one this week. 13th, if I remember my math correctly. And those are worth millions upon millions of dollars. This is bad. Germany's Volkswagen under fire for massive data collection scandal. Germany's Chaos Computer Club, or CCC, or GCC, CCC, Chaos Computer Club, has revealed that Volkswagen systematically collects and stores movement data from hundreds of thousands of vehicles, including VW, Audi, Skoda, and seat models. Shockingly, this data tied to vehicle owners was accessible online without protection. Collected data offers insights into drivers' everyday and private lives, even sensitive information tied to intelligence and military activities. Examples include records for the German Federal Intelligence Service, or BND, parking garage in the U.S. Air Force Base in Ramstein. Du hast nichts. Yemen's Houthis continue. Yes, I do a good imitation. Yemen Houthis continue launching ballistic missiles on Israel in support of Palestinian resistance. Israel reported that its air defense systems intercepted another Houthi missile overnight. A missile fragment landed near Bet Shemesh, close to Jerusalem, following the separation of the warhead. Houthis likely launched an unidentified variant of the Iranian Rezvan liquid-fueled ballistic missile, commonly known as the Zulfiqar. While Rezvan typically has a range of 1,400 kilometers, this missile appears to have traveled approximately 2,000 kilometers, likely achieved by reducing the already light warhead weight. CENTCOM conducted multiple precision strikes against Iran-backed Houthi targets in Sana'a and coastal locations within Houthi-controlled territory on Yemen, December 30th and December 31st. We targeted a Houthi command and control facility and advanced conventional weapons, or ACW, production and storage facilities. This included missiles and uncrewed aerial vehicles, also known as UAVs, not to be confused with the Jersey drones. CENTCOM forever, United States of America. Hooah! Xi Jinping's New Year's address says people on both sides of Taiwan Strait are one family. We are family. No one can break our blood ties. No one can stop the historical trend of national reunification. They're going for it in 2025. Macron. Europe can no longer delegate its security to other powers. War in Ukraine and developments in the Middle East call for European awakening. Murders, lynchings, torture continue in the Alawite areas of Syria. Obligation to provide international protection for those at risk, approximately 3 million of whom face extermination. That's what we call a G-side, folks. Biden administration in its final days continues negotiations with Giuliani and his dispatching friends. Good thing they will be out of office in 20 days. They don't understand what they are doing, just as they remove the Houthis from the list of terror organizations. They know exactly what they are doing. Okay? They know exactly what they are doing. I don't buy this. They don't know what they're doing crap anymore. This is willful. Hamas is changing the ceasefire agreement and refusing to release 12 out of 34 hostages Israel wants freed. Once again, Hamas is solely to blame for the war continuing in Gaza. All they have to do is free innocent hostages. That literally, all they have to do, watch the Q&A I did with Pastor Barry Stagner. This is Amir Sarfati. You will see Israel go freaking nuts if they don't honor this whole thing. Reports of attacks now in Sana'a, capital of Houthi movement in Yemen. Not an Israeli attack. It was actually America. Reports indicate that current attacks in Sana'a were directed against the Ministry of Defense building, military maintenance camp, and the former headquarters of the 1st Division. Ballistic missile launched from Yemen a short time ago and crashed en route far from Israel. Let's see if at midnight, if they'll try it again. It is well into 2025 there now. IDF is sealing off the Kamal Adwan Hospital, northern Gaza, shutting it down, turned into a major Hamas terror base. Hundreds of patients and staff have been evacuated to another hospital. Following the launch of rockets from the Gaza Strip towards Israel, an IDF spokesman announced near midnight that the Al-Burej camp area has been evacuated prior to carrying out attacks in the Gaza Strip. It is reported that around 3 a.m., IDF planes carried out attacks on Al-Baraj and Jabalia, killing 9 and wounding about 15. United Kingdom government has ordered 5 million doses of the gibbity for the avian influenza in preparation for the possibility of it spreading amongst humans. New report reveals a growing rift between Jojo and Kamala, with the two reportedly not speaking to each other following the election loss. More than 70% of California's dairy herds have now been infected with the H5N1 bird flu. Tesla has been accused of replacing thousands of laid-off U.S. workers with foreign employees on H-1B visas, according to data obtained by Electric and the U.S. Department of Labor. Nearly 1 million chickens in Ohio have been affected by a highly contagious strain of avian influenza, also known as the bird flu. That was covered earlier today on PrepperNow, if you want to go check that video out. President Trump, I don't know who that is, but Highland Husky, thank you so much, bud. President Trump shared that his New Year's resolution is for everyone to live happily, stay healthy, and to thrive. I like it. Israeli media sources report that strong winds caused an Israeli Air Force Sikorsky CH-53C Stallion helicopter to overturn and sustain damage. Venezuelan gang members trying to enter the United States before the inauguration. Members of the Venezuelan criminal group Tren de Aragua, attacking border crossings in El Paso, Texas, want to enter the U.S. ahead of President-elect Trump's inauguration, New York Post reported Tuesday. Last week, 20 gang members armed with all kinds of crap attempted to breach the border with another attack expected on January 1st. According to a Texas law enforcement memo, the Post called El Paso the gang's U.S. headquarters, noting many members use the city to enter other parts of the country. Retired Homeland Security agent Victor Avila linked the violence to Trump's inauguration, says they know it's going to change in 27 days. They're going to be sought after, he told the newspaper. Trump, who announced in November for mass deportations, has pledged to declare a state of emergency and use military resources to tackle undocumented migration. And that, my friends, that is your crisis report, last of the year for December 31st, 2024. I'm going to be turning this sucker off shortly and going on over to PrepperNow. I would love for you to join me there as we're going to ring in the new year, and we're going to be talking about all of the things that are going to be affecting us in 2025. I have a whole list ready, and we're going to go down it, and we're going to talk about it, okay? I would love to have you there. Won't you join us? I just want to have a note that, this channel does not get the love, but every night you guys are here, and every night you guys support, you're good to each other, you say nice things, you are intelligent. I see great comments, not just in the chat, but also on the video after. You do share it out, and you do all the things. There are channels out there that do 1/10 of what this channel does and have 10 times the exposure. Trust me, I know it. And I don't give a crap. You know why? Because I'm going to keep doing it this way. I'm going to do it as best of my abilities. I'm going to keep bringing the intel, and the smart kids are going to come over. If they don't want to put me out there, then I know I am doing something right. I am not here for clicks. I'm not here for friends. I'm not here for fame. I'm not here for any of that. I just want the truth. I want to know exactly what's going on. I want to know who's doing it. And I want to know how it's going to affect me and my family. And so because of that, I do it this way for all of you. Because you're smart and you can figure things out from here. If you like what we're doing here, join the Substack. It's got links and all kinds of stuff. And you can get all of that for free if you want. Or you can pay. Some people pay because they like to tip me and they think what I'm doing. I am the product. I am the product. I'm not going to sling you EMP bags or anything like that on this channel. I'm going to give you good information. And when the other channels, 12 to 24 hours, come out and get it, you can say, oh, yeah, I saw that on the crisis report last night. Happens every day, folks. God bless you all. Happy New Year to you all. Thanks to my mods. Thanks to my members. Consider becoming a member. It is $2. I will not raise it. It is bare minimum. It is all I charge. $2 per month gets you all of this, and it's a little thank you, and it's all I ask and need, and it also keeps Borgarino off, put me on the chopping block, okay? So I appreciate you. Also, check out the other links like Truth and Minds and Gab and X, and of course, Subscribestar and Locals. I've been pretty busy there, with the exception today, not a lot. But they're great places to find information that will get you kicked off of other platforms. Like me, I was kicked off of Patreon. Again, it's because I'm doing it right. God bless. Happy New Year.